All right, in order to finish this chapter on Europe, we need to sort of build you to World War One. So one of the things that helps to lead us to World War One were the alliance systems. And we had two alliances. We had the Triple Alliance, which is here on the right screen. You see it's Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy. And the question here is, what was the weak or the unstable partner in this alliance? It's Austria-Hungary. Why? It really has to do with the fact that Austria-Hungary contains a bunch of different ethnic groups, language groups, each of whom would like its independence. So Austria-Hungary is constantly fighting to keep itself together. That you're going to witness in a couple slides is a big deal. The Triple Entente is this idea of Britain, France, and Russia. Now, you remember back to one of my earlier talks, I had a thing on there that said about the Congress of Vienna wanted to create a balance of power. In other words, it didn't want any one nation to become so powerful that it threatened the stability of everybody else, that it threatened the safety and stability of everybody else. So there is this move to try to balance everybody out. And once Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy ally here in the middle, Britain and France are scared because they look over here and see, wow, this is pretty powerful. So they decide to form the Triple Entente, bring Russia in. Now, Russia and Britain don't naturally like each other, but they will for this because it provides a balance. Of course, look at this. If you're Germany and Austria-Hungary, you see having Russia here on your east, France and Britain on your west as a major threat to you. So it's going to get ugly here. Also, in Russia, there's a revolution in 1905 which leads to a great deal of internal strife. We will talk about Russian history here in just a little bit. That's coming up in the next chapter or two. Okay, this new alliance system is the straw that breaks the camel's back in many ways. Helps to pull us into World War I. All right, so how did the Balkans? Now, you guys remember the Balkans. I'm running the cursor over it down here. This is the Balkans. It's everything, this peninsula sticks out here with Greece at the bottom, runs up here through the Black Sea, across here, across the bottom of Hungary, over to the Adriatic Sea, and down. So how do they contribute to this instability? Well, the Ottoman Empire is falling, and as it's declining here in the late early 1900s, these areas in the southern Balkan Peninsula are breaking free. One of those, the Kingdom of Serbia, you see it, I got my cursor on it right here, is trying to expand. But a lot of Serbian-speaking people live in the Austria-Hungarian Empire. Now, they would like to join the Serbian Empire, but Austria-Hungary does not want to lose any land. But there are Serbs, these guys called the Black Hand, under Princip, is this Gabriel Princip, or Princip, is one of the guys, and he kills the Archduke Ferdinand, who is next in line to be the emperor of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. Well, the Austrian-Hungarian Empire up here says, okay, well, we're going to punish Serbia. Austria vows to punish Serbia. But Russia out here says, we're going to help our Slavic brothers, the Serbians. So Russia comes to their aid. Now, Austria-Hungary turns, remember, part of that Triple Alliance, turns to its friends, the Germans up here, and says, hey, Germany, do you have our back? And Germany says, yes, yes, you do what you need to do. You have a blank check from us. Do what you need to do. So, that Austria-Hungary is very excited about this. So Austria-Hungary says to Germany, we're going to punish Serbia. So they move to punish Serbia. They move to attack Serbia. Sorry, my phone's ringing in the background. They move to attack Serbia. Russia mobilizes troops, moves troops to the border. Then, so Russia declares war on Austria-Hungary. Germany declares war on Russia. Before France can even mobilize its troops, Germany turns and races through Belgium right here into France, and World War I is on. Okay, so in what ways did diplomacy and government policy help to contribute to the buildup for World War I? One of the things is nationalist competition had gotten out of control. What I mean by that? I mean the competition among Germany, France, England had gotten out of control. Italy's trying to join this competition. It really is starting to get out of control. They will fight for land in Africa. They're going to fight for land in a lot of places. Also, governments are attempting to distract their populations, who are some places are suffering. There have been some pretty nasty recessions / depressions during this time period. So they are trying to distract their population through foreign actions. They're say, well, listen, we got to unite together as Germans because we got to protect ourselves against those British guys. Also, there are military buildups, and the militaries need buyers for their products. Newspapers are helping to shape nationalistic pride. In other words, they're really firing up the British and trying to sell newspapers. And one of the ways to sell newspapers is to talk about how bad those other people are, how bad, if you're Britain, how bad those Germans are, and Frenchmen, even though they are your ally. And initially, when the war opens, people are actually excited about war. They say, war will be fast. It's sort of a break, excuse me, from the humdrum everyday life. All right, last slide for this chapter. Global connections during this time. One of them is imperialism. We'll talk about imperialism a little bit later. And a redefinition of the world economy as the world really starts to become interconnected, and there's a lot more buying and selling among parts of the world. Russia is trying to avoid this situation. It's warned against Parliament. Oh, darn it. I'm pausing for just a second. All right, after the break for announcements, let me try to finish this off. Remember, we had imperialism. We'll talk about that going around the world. Next up, we're going to have Russia trying to avoid all this situation. Russia, you're going to learn in the next chapter, tries to stay out of as best it can because it's not ready for a great war. And number 3, European ideas of socialism, liberalism, radicalism, enlightenment were exported to other parts of the world, but will eventually be brought, you're going to learn later on, these ideas are brought back against the British oppressors. All right, that wraps up chapter 23. Thanks for your attention, and we'll be loading up 24 tomorrow. Thanks.